All right, guys, we're gonna watch the best blood DK in the world. He got ranked number one in season three. I played my alt blood DK, and I play Sand Land, so I'm kind of curious what's going on here. Let's this is Yoda TV, I believe.
Hey
Check
guys,
it
this is
out.
Yoda. This is going to be my Blood Decay mini guide that I'm releasing halfway through season 3. I recently started playing a decent amount of Blood Decay. I've been pugging around a lot with it, and I actually hit rank 1 world. I know it's not that big of an
Maybe I can
accomplishment
learn
like
something
halfway through
new.
the season, especially as Blood
Wow.
Decay, but it is what it is. I have been playing Deathbringer pretty much exclusively. The main reason I prefer Deathbringer right now is because the damage is pretty close to Sand Lane, and the aggro is significantly better. You don't have to worry about holding your rune weapon because it's not like a huge portion of your hero talent. Sending Reaper's Mark on pull just for aggro is like perfectly fine, and it generates a lot of aggro. Exterminate also really good for aggro. And as long as you can hold aggro and survive, honestly, you can kind of time basically any key that's not world first, no matter how much damage you do. So that's kind of why I've been playing Deathbringer. This is my default build. On the right side, we do have a couple choices you can make. Basically, right now I've been playing Bloodied Blade because I haven't really run into a level where I'm actually that challenged defensively. So I've just been playing this for a little bit more damage. If you wanted, you could drop it for Heartbreaker or Iron Heart just for a little bit more defense. The other choice you can make, which I would recommend not really ever doing unless you know exactly what you're doing, especially maybe in Priory, is you can drop these 3 talent points for these 3, basically just to get Tightening Grasp. If you're really worried about your group's AoE stop slash kick situation, or if it's like a pug or something and you don't trust anyone to kick, then this can be pretty useful. Don't do it just blindly, though. Only do it if you know exactly when you're going to use Gorfine's Grasp in the dungeon. The main uses are like when everyone's kick is on cooldown, and if people are like a mess with their AoE stops, then this is kind of can put a crutch on it, but it's not ideal to take this. On the left side, you have
Wow.
some choice nodes. Right now, I think I just finished doing a
I was playing Gorfine's Grasp for a bit because it reminded me of the sigils from Sigil of Chains, and that's like one of the best tank moves ever. But I don't run it either. I run what he's running over here. But they in the next season or when Midnight comes out, we need to be able to talent this and keep this here because that's a must. Every tank should be able to have a pull, put all the odds in the same spot. Every tank should start being more the same because some tanks like they don't have any of that, and it's so necessary for a tank to have that. The staple.
So this is what it looks like, but you can easily drop Wraithwalk or March of Darkness or Grip of the Dead. Assimilation's also nice. Control Undead if you need it. Probably can't really get Death's Reach because it costs 2 points. There's no real reason to. And D&D Slow if I didn't mention that. Make sure you don't drop Soul Reaper though because it's very important for this talent, Reaper of Souls. The Death Tripper Bringer tree is a little bit different this season than before. First of all, you're playing 30-second Reaper's Mark because of the tier set. You get 3 exterminates per Reaper's Mark, so it's really important to have a low cooldown on that. And Reaper of Souls is 10% more single target damage than Grim Reaper, even though Grim Reaper is like a little bit better, like ease of use wise slash defensively. Still think Reaper of Souls is definitely worth it. 30% single target is nothing to sniff at, so I am playing that. And yeah, that is going to be the talent build. For your stats, you're going to want to mainly go Verse Mastery, with Verse being your best stat.
I
Mastery
don't
obviously
like the
being
way
second
his
best.
UI is set up
Crit
at
can
all.
be better than Mastery and Verse offensively,
No
but
way he
defensively
plays
it's
like that.
significantly worse, so I would generally try to stay away from crit. I like a ring that's crit mastery because like I was like dual specking Frost. But generally try to stay away from crit and go versus mastery. Haste is going to be your worst stat. I have 6.8k and I think it's probably too much. But it is a little bit comfortable to have like a little bit, so if you have a little bit, it's not the end of the world. Most of it's probably going to come for your tier set, maybe your boots. So yeah, for your embellishments, you want bracer and belt most likely with dust thread. Embellishments don't really matter too much though, so don't worry too much about it. If you have the wrong ones, if you have like Ascension or something, that's fine. Or Symbiosis. For your trinkets, Brand is going to be by far your best trinket for every tank in this game. Don't ask why. And you're also, I could,
Like he is a world first, but I play Sand Lane and I have 44% haste. Haste is all I want. Maybe I won't go as far in keys, but man, does it ever feel good to the vampiric strike. Bam, 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 one after another. That gameplay I find is way more satisfying than being a slow DK. Slow DK with Deathbringer, he only has 6,000 haste. How, like, I don't know. I find that takes a lot of the fun away of you're being high gear, but you're hitting and so slow. Like those slow hits, it's like, ooh, like there's a lot of damage and where I think a lot of people go wrong, like he is number one and I'm not, but for sure is the the haste on Death Strike can save your life. So many times I've been so close and I go boom, 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 Death Strike, Death Strike, Death Strike, and it's kept me alive. Maybe the alternative is he doesn't have to do that because he's so much more tankier. So maybe it's too far in the season for me to switch, but maybe in midnight I'll stack first and mastery. But haste just feels so good.
by brand. All right. Anyway,
I don't know if I could play that slow.
This
That's
game,
very slow.
you're not ready for.
the other trinket you can use is either a stat stick, which is Solia's or Antenna. Solia's can be put on verse, so that's
That's what I
probably
use
better
Solia's,
most of the
and
time.
I
Antenna
target a
crit
player with
is also
haste.
really good. And the other choice you have is the Cheat Death Trinket, which I don't have on my character right now, All Devouring Nucleus. If you're not comfortable defensively, that one gives you like, one save every 8 minutes, which can be kind of useful as a blood decay, especially if you're learning. Other than that, if you don't have these three trinkets, then just wear whatever you want, and once you get real trinkets, you can start thinking about it again. One other important thing, it is quite important for blood decay, in my opinion, this season, to get the Northrend belt engineering. If you don't know what that is, look up the engine, just search the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, for the engineering video. It'll tell you how to get it, but basically you can activate the belt. It makes you run super fast. Not this fast, it's a little bit slower in dungeons, but yeah, it's very important for your gather, since blood decay is kind of like a wheelchair spec, that you have this belt.
Hmm.
All right,
I've never
next we'll
really
talk
had an
about
issue.
the offensive rotation.
I
I'm
do a
not going to get
slow
too far
pull,
into it because it's
bringing them
not
all in a
that
group.
complicated or super important, really, that you play well offensively. But the biggest thing is make sure you're using Reaper's Mark every 30 seconds. This is your best button offensively. If you look at my damage breakdown, my highest by far is Exterminate, and Exterminate comes from Reaper's Mark. So make sure you're pushing this button off cooldown no matter what.
Man, that
You do want to
UI
also
is
get as many
disgusting.
cleansing rune weapons up as possible. Make sure blood plays on the target. If you run out of runes, you can push consumption. And you also want to make sure you have bone shield up, which is either from Marrowrend, or if you're really low on runes, you can do it with Death Caress, or Death Caress from range if you're gathering, also fine. And other than that, spend excess runes on Heartstrike, and make sure you have D&D and AoE when you're Heartstriking, and you can ideally, you're spending your RP off cooldown, like without overcapping on Death Strike. However, there are some situations where it's good to overcap Death Strikes, and those situations are when you are light on cooldowns and you're sitting at full health. Mostly, usually, I would say due to a large Umbilicus shield. It's okay, in my opinion, to just stay overcapped on RP and not use Death Strike, and then wait for a situation, wait for you to actually drop health, and then you'll have full RP to Death Strike yourself out if needed. But offensively, you are going to
That's
want
not how I
to
play.
just
I
Death Strike whenever
stack
you have
out
full
my
RP.
blood shield and I track my blood shield.
Next, we'll talk about
So
defensive
if I'm
play.
over health,
So the
I'm
main thing about
over
defensive
health
play
with
is,
blood
number
shield as
one, make
well.
sure you always have bone shield. Number two, you need to have a decent cooldown rotation.
That's where the haste
So
comes in,
if
man.
you're fighting an easy pack, then you should always try to have at least something. So that's like rune weapon or vamp blood or rune tap to fill the gaps. Or like a full RP pool also counts as something, like you can take some damage,
I
Death
don't
Strike,
like
take some
that,
damage, go
dude.
full
That's
gen, etc. That also counts as a mini cooldown.
so what he's talking about is in between pull. if you're playing Sandland right with these talents, you're gonna have Dancing Rune Weapon at the start of every pull, right? Or pretty damn near. And you're using your bone shield and your bone shield or tombstone and bone storm to reduce your cooldown of this. And you want that, and you want crit. So like earlier, you said he doesn't want crit, but crit is like parry. You get parry from crit. So people saying crit's not very good, but the whole reason Dancing Rune Weapon is a Hail Mary button and why it saves your ass every time is because it gives you 30% or 35% parry, like right there. So the more you have crit, the more you have parry. Like I think his build, that's why he has our, like you can see here, he has 29 parry. It's because he is surviving probably more based off his crit than he knows that he's thinking, because he already has 29 parry. So when he throws on, just like Demon Hunter's all parry. When he throws his Dancing Rune Weapon on, now he has 60% parry. That's why he's so tanky, right? But I think if he played the Sand Land, I think he'd probably do a lot better because he has all this crit and he'd do so much more damage. And he has this verse, but then he has no haste. So yeah, you need haste, man. That's crazy. I don't know how he plays like that. That's too slow. Maybe he's just better than me, but if if I'm too slow, I'll die. My runes won't generate fast enough. Other stuff won't generate fast enough, and I will die. That's what,
You
the more
can
haste, I
also make sure
feel
you
like a
also
god.
have double cooldown on pull usually. So like rune tap counts as a
Almost feel
cooldown.
like I
So
could pull the
generally that
whole
just means rune
dungeon
tap plus literally
because if
anything else.
they're hitting my health, I'm death
Unpull tends to be
striking
when you're the
so
weakest because you're
often
like running
that
around, gathering
it's not even
aggro,
a
not really
worry
planting and
and maxing my
setting yourself
blood
up
shield
defensively.
each hit.
Not really able to death strike sometimes, so make sure you have an extra thing on pull. And then sometimes there are very difficult packs uh, that require a double cooldown rolling the whole time. So that's like Vamp Blood plus Rune Weapon, or Rune Weapon plus Rune Tap, or Vamp Blood plus Rune Tap, or Lichborn plus anything, Iceborn plus anything, etc. These types of packs are, for example, like this pull in Priory, the lust pull that many tanks often die to.
So I've never really had an issue, but what I do with these cooldowns, I guess bring it back here, his magic one for the anti-magic shield and vampiric blood. I have the talent set up just like him where it reduces his cooldown of vampiric blood. But that's on my macro. I'm not pressing vampiric blood. Vampiric blood comes off cooldown as soon as it's available forever. Because in a Mythic Plus scenario, I'm not stopping. I'm consistently moving. So mathematically, the average, the more you have your vampiric blood up, the better. At no point should you like certain of these cooldowns. That's where this game gets complex. Where people think it needs to be complex. No, you should have vampiric blood off cooldown because you should never stop moving. Right? You should never stop moving. Keep moving to the next pack, next pack, next pack. And that's why I like chain pulling with the blood decay. I don't like stopping. I feel like a god. Just I can just keep on moving, keeping up my runic power, never letting it drop. I'm always just moving, and that's what the speed to time a key. Yeah, like that's an icebound fortitude. Same thing. That's off cooldown. I'm never just not pressing icebound fortitude. And by the time, like let's say the odd time where I just kill a boss and it comes and I acted like not meaning to because it's on my macro. I don't even see when Icebound Fortitude is even up. It's on my macro. It's being pressed as often as it can in a whole span of a dungeon. And let's say I hit it and I lose the bonus from it, and then the boss just dies, and I go to another pack. That other pack, like, I'm not going to need Icebound Fortitude at an exact moment. Like, I've never, these cooldowns aren't hefty enough as Dancing Runeblade where I'm going to really feel it. I feel Vampiric Blood, but I felt Vampiric Blood more when I put it on my macro because I felt like it never left. That 30% health never, I don't even know when it comes and goes because I just feel that much stronger throughout the dungeon. So yeah, like I play on controller, so when I macro everything, it just feels better. Like it's adding way too many. That's like, look, his whole UI looks clunky. Like you have 4 rows of buttons. Why is there ability that goes onto your back piece? Like I don't know. It just seems like too much. Like the leech, the rune tap, like the 4% damage resistance or whatever. That's garbage. That shouldn't even he shouldn't even be specking that. I find my problem is I can't find good DPS. If I got some good DPS, I'd already be a lot higher IO. But like this rune tab, like, oh man, that ain't it. Same with my taunt. My taunt is on my death grip macroed in. So if I need to taunt somebody, I can just spam my death grip. Why has he got mind freeze in 2 spots? I don't know. I don't get it.
These types of packs are, for example, like this pull in Priory, the Lust pull that many tanks often die to. Any pull on
Not
gold, which we've already
once. Never
mentioned,
died to that.
non-breaker, like this type
Never
of
died to
pull,
that pack.
when you have the bleed and the enrage is up at the same time. Those types of pulls require double cooldowns, but it's very important to not do
My
triple
team will
cooldown because
die,
if you do
not
3 cooldowns
me.
at once, then you're very likely to run out of cooldowns very quickly. One other thing that counts as a cooldown is Umbilicus Eternus. As Deathbringer, your Umbilicus shields are usually going to be massive, especially in big AoE. Usually, I've seen Umbilicus shields that are like more than double your entire health bar. Playing around this shield is going to be pretty important to making sure you don't run out of defensives. So make sure you're tracking that. Make sure you're tracking the duration, because oftentimes, like, you don't want to get surprised. Oftentimes, the Umbilicus shield will like literally never break, and then it'll time out, and then suddenly you're vulnerable again. So make sure you're tracking your Absorb shield somewhere. Make sure you're tracking duration on Umbilicus. The other thing I would say defensively is your antimatter shell can be used to immune a lot of debuffs. This is particularly useful in this dungeon. Dawnbreaker, you can AMS to drop debuffs from these Shadow Walkers. In Floodgate, you can AMS to not get debuffs from like the soldiers, etc. Make sure you're taking advantage of that.
In Albion, no matter
Like that's
what
smart
you roll or
gameplay.
do,
Like
your mount will accompany
maybe
you on
that's
your
the
journey.
next level, right?
Perhaps you'll pick
You know
a
what each
merchant's
mob is
best
gonna
friend
do
who
to
can
you.
carry anything.
Exactly. That'd be
Another
a good
thing
way to time
is
that.
the
Yeah.
Gather. So when you're gathering as Blood Decay, something that's very important is that every single mob needs to be hit by something. Otherwise, like, they're going to start running your allies. So let's say I was going to group these 2 enemies if they were enemies, these 2 and these 5, right? So one thing you can do is you can drop D&D on a pack. That will give you a very small amount of aggro, but if anyone like hits it with like real damage, they're going to pull aggro. You can also Blood Boil, so I could like Speed Belt, run past it, Blood Boil, and then like run to this, Blood Boil this, and then like D&D this and plant. That's another way to do it. Another thing you can do is you can use Rune Weapon to tag the very last pack into Blood Boil. So one thing, let's say I wanted to tag these 2, this pack, and this pack, right? So I could pull this with D&D, it starts running at me, I Rune Weapon this pack, and then I run in between these 2 and Blood Boil, and now I have aggro of everything. That is another way to do it. Obviously, this griefs your Rune Weapon a little bit, since your Rune Weapon's not on the Prio target, and these mobs will be running at you, but in my opinion, having a clean gather is definitely worth sacrificing a little bit of Rune Weapon value.
What are you talking
As for
about, man? You
utility, the
have a
dual grip,
pull.
just like
Like
every other DK. You can
I
use that
just
to grip
slowly
mobs,
group
like
them
Walker
all
is
up,
laid
and
out.
whoever's
Generally, you
the
don't want to
caster
use it
that's
in
farthest,
grouping
target
if
him.
possible, because let's say I
Tap
grip this
target,
mob, then
boom,
like this mob
pull him,
is running at people with no aggro, right? But
and
generally, you don't want
interrupt
to
him at
tag
the
mobs
same
with grip.
time.
You just want to use it for grouping, but not like the literal first hit on packs if possible.
You got two
Uh, you
death
also
and
have shield
decay, so
fire
you
stun,
shouldn't worry
asphyxiate,
about
ignite,
that.
AoE, stop with blighting sleep, asphyxiate. Generally, you want to be using this. Like if you run out of kicks and then a mob's about to bolt your friends, that's like one way to use it. You can also use it just to stop a mob and your friends
I
from
don't play
snatching you with something.
asphyxiate.
There are plenty of uses for asphyxiate, but yeah, you do have that. AMZ, make sure you're taking advantage of that. Uh, try to get at least one use every healer intensive boss fight. If you have assimilation, you can try to get 2 uses, but yeah. If you have assimilation, probably use like one at the start, you get one at the end. If you don't have assimilation, then it's probably just 1 use per boss. So think about when it's going to be the most useful. That is going to be my mini Blood DK guide. Thank you for watching. Peace out.
I don't know. I think he could have told us more for being number one. There's if you're trying to watch his guide and you're like, all right, I want to be number one. The guys that are already 3K and up, they didn't learn a goddamn thing from that. Like you'd have to be a basic noob to learn any of that, and not like, oh, I don't know, that was disgusting. I'll show you what I do real quick, because that's he could have done a better video. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. There's a lot more that goes into managing your health and your cooldowns. I'm gonna give you a little quick run by of for a new guy that not even new, even if you're advanced tank and player already, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like that guy didn't what are you gonna learn? His 4 bars full of cooldowns with different things going on. Oh, I'll show you what's up. Put on the glasses. Okay. We are Venom. That's my guy. See how my health bar is right in the middle? Health bar being in the middle, that's your only focus. You don't care what the damage on the enemy, like he had him and his target, like no. You have one focus, your health. You've got to stay alive. Your runes right under. I have my main cooldowns. I use add-on called Tell Me When. So let's go to my chat. Tell me when. TMW. Boom. And I can customize, I can move these around. Perfect. Pick what cooldowns you want to see exactly. These 3 things will keep you alive. You're in trouble, press Tombstone. You're in trouble, press Bone Storm. And then you don't want to be in trouble plus pressing a Dancing Room up, which is crazy because it's a huge defensive. You want to be so above being in trouble that you're like a god, and you're like, hey, I'm here to do damage. So when you place your Dancing Rune weapon is when you're got almost all your runes, and you're like, it's damage time, and you spam Pure Strike, boom, 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 right? And then when it's on cooldown, you pop these 2 to reduce its cooldown. Perfect. That's the strategy. When you pull, yes, you want to use Blood Boil. You can use 1 Death and Decay, but make sure your last Death and Decay is where you're planting. Right? That's the secret sauce. But we're going to go into my macros. Exit config. Maybe we'll go to add-ons. So what do we got? Console port. I play on controller. So I find it super easy. Console port's fucking amazing add-on for playing on controller. Alright, what else do we got? Matrix Maps. Narcus. This just makes you look cool when you look at your gear. Look at my haste. 37%. Yeah. Beautiful. Plater. I use Quasi UI and then I tweak it a bit. I use his profile. Weak Aura. So my weak aura will. I have one for a health prediction. Let's leave this dungeon real quick. Somehow. right back in here. I'll show you what you want as a blood DK. He didn't tell you anything of how to track anything. Like, oh, you want to track this? How? How do you track that? How do you track any of it? I'll show you what I got going on with the weak auras. That's why them taking away weak auras is... They can't replicate this because they're not going to give you this information. Blood decay and weak auras is... This is huge.
She brought down our
Yeah, we're in a
defenses,
mythic.
and her
Perfect.
wastelanders
I want to do a little
destroyed
poll on
the
these guys.
They must be stopped.
You guys will see what I'm talking about.
With our defenses
Okay, see that green
down,
line on my
nothing
screen?
to keep the
That's called a
devourers
health prediction for when I use my death spray. Boom. Okay, now you see the blue. Look at the blue. That's my blood shield. Okay? And you see that red line going from left to right? I'll let it try to time out. Oh, I can't. They're destroying my blood shield. Triple interrupt right there. Boom. I'm going to build up my bone shields again. See your health was balanced. See the health prediction? Learning how to do your death strike is one thing, but knowing what health you're gonna get out of your death strike is a whole other scenario of survival. That's what they're not telling you. He's rank number 1. He doesn't want to tell you the secret sauce. Look, I'll let it build up. Look at that. Boom. And it shows me how much shield I got too. So you can still have some blood shield and not be full health. Let it go down a bit. Okay, now this is your damage window. I almost got all my runes. Blood boil. Do a quick death strike first. Dancing rune weapon. Hear that? Boom. Spend all those runes and just boost the damage. Okay. Also another trick. This is very imperative while you have Dancing Rune active. Because you want to spend your Tombstone and spend your Bone Storm while you have it active, because you're spending your Bone Shield charges, right? But when you use an ability that grants you Bone Shield charge, while it's active, it gives you max stats. Pretty much max stats. So I'll let my Bone Shield charge run out a bit. Okay. 12. They already gave me 5. So we're going to let it go down a bit. I wonder if I'm going to be able to show you. See, that gave me 2. Usually what happens is you spend your charges and you'll press one death's carcass. It'll put you to max stacks. So you really want to keep your stacks high, right? So right here, I can show you right here. So I'm at 7. 6. You spend that, boom, 7. So Death's Carcass gave me 7 stacks. Then I use Morrowind, boom, max stacks instantly. So you never want to leave max stacks. Right? You want to keep your stacks high and spend them as soon as you get them. So you keep staying your DPS window. Look how fast my runes charge. Right? Like, I know this is Mythic 0, but you can really let it go. And Vampiric Strike, he says you don't, you want to sometimes stay capped at Runic Power. Never. Not if you're playing Sandland, because every time you Death Strike, is a chance to make your, or any ability, is a chance to make you have a vampire strike, which is a huge heal. It's just, that's what you want to do. You need to be able to see this. That's why your health should always be at the center of your screen. Like when you're playing, you're only looking up to do a quick interrupt. Then all right, and then boom, put your interrupt. You want to put your interrupts on cooldown by using them efficiently, and then right back at your health and your positioning, and making sure you're not standing in there anything. Okay, and this is very prio thing here too. You have all your 3 cooldowns up. Which one are you going to use? Dancing Rune Weapon. The other ones reduce its cooldown. Okay, here I can show you. I'm going to spend them both. Down to 2 Bone Shield charges. 12 in one button. Right? You're not really trying to use them for a specific defensive cooldown. You're thinking too much. They're pretending to you guys that they're thinking so much. They're not. You're spending it right away. You're spamming everything. You're just trying to survive. And actually, even more, you're trying to do damage. Damage is more important than any of it. You're trying to do maximum fucking damage. Shield. And then hear that refresh blood shield. You only really hear that in weaker content because they'll usually break your shield before you'll ever hear that from that weak aura. Let's see if I can show you guys the weak aura. Blood shield tracker. Then I have this one for bone shield, but it's hunky dory. It doesn't always work. See that down here. It's hunky dory. Barely ever works. But blood shield tracker. Oh my god, let me tell you. This should be in the game. It's freaking amazing. Okay, now I'll show you my macros real quick. So, alright, no specific. I got B-res for any party. Then I realized, that's not very good because sometimes shit hits the fan. So now I can heal now with it. See that? That little thing right here? When I'm in a party, it'll let me pick who to B-res or who to heal if I'm playing healer. So I can go left and right and target the healer. And it'll change my D-pad to not do my mount ability or any other abilities associated like that with my targeting. But I have it set so I can turn it off and on. That. Boom, my targeting. Alright, so I can do a quick B-res if I need to. Back to macros. Blood. This is my main attack. Look how I got everything on here. Raise dead, that pet. Lichborn, your leech. This is shit you want always on. There's not a specific time that you're going to press a button that's going to put you ahead of other people. Other than that one time he mentioned that anti-magic shield on that certain mob. That's a fluke. The only special thing that you want to track like how raid logs do is this. When's the best time to use that? That's where the pros are really focused on. This. But other than that, it doesn't last very long. 6 seconds? Come on, man. It's in the core rotation like I just showed you. Where you're just trying to do damage, you're just trying to survive, and you're trying to keep your shit moving. And for me, haste is how I survive. Haste. I'm going to take a buttload of damage, I'm going to heal it back. What do I need? Speed. I need speed. And these, you don't want to be thinking, you don't want to waste your freaking brain power thinking about this. Anti-magic shield, icebound fortitude, vampiric blood, lichborn, raise the dead, heart strike. Vampiric blood. Talents. No, I didn't see. I didn't even use any of these. When you lose a bone field charge, stack it. Like, nah, man. Crimson Scourge. Like, why is he running Crimson Scourge? You should be so good at the game that you're never not using your Death and Decay off a cooldown. If you're getting reminded by Crimson Scourge to use your Death and Decay, you're doing something wrong. To gain versatility, man, just hit Death Strike, man. You'll stay alive. You don't need all this burst. What are they doing? Your blood and decay will happen more often. Like, no, the damage from blood. Come on. Why is he the top guy running that? Like, what is going on? What is going on here? Let's see how much 50% more damage would do. Oh, I wish it would stop. Yeah, damage on Blood Boil. So Blood Boil did 9% of my damage and 50% more damage a leech. Are you kidding me? Come on. That's not worth it. Not worth it at all. Go to healing done. Blood shield, bro. You gotta track your blood shield. Death Strike. Eternus. Absorb damage. Like you always want to track this. After vampiric blood expires, you absorb damage equal to 5 times that of your blood plague. Dope. Okay. Well, guess what? That's a no-brainer. To add a thought of thinking about that is retarded. You're not going to think about. You don't want to think about a random shield that you can't control. It's all. You know what I mean? And if you try to control this shield, you're doing too much. That's the definition of doing too much. When your thing dies, like no, man, you're reducing its cooldown. You want to reduce its cooldown and have it auto going. So this is a no-brainer. Let it go. Let it think. Let it do its own thing. The only thing as a blood decay that you're worried about is your health and aggro. You walk into the mob like I just did, blood boil. You're looking at 3 things: your health, your bone shield charges, and your damage meter. So you want to do some damage, man. You're not worried about dying. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be worried about dying. You should be worried about doing damage. So let's see. Do I have any other macros in here? Heal. Okay, so on my Death Strike, I don't even play Blood Tap or Rune Tap. So that's on my macro, but I don't even think I play it. Let me check. Yeah, Blood, Rune Tap, Blood Tap. I don't even play those. You don't need them. Reduces all damage for 20 seconds for 4 seconds. 4 seconds? That's not reliable. No one's... If they had 20 charges, you don't even... Or not 20 charges, but if you had like a stack of charges and you can brace for impact for a bad pack, but 4 seconds won't fucking save nobody nothing. That ain't worth a lick of your time. Consuming that, that's why it would have been automated. Because you should be so focused on spending and doing damage. Because your focus is doing damage. Staying alive is easy. You want to focus on doing damage because then staying alive is even easier. You understand what I'm saying? You're trying to think about it doing damage. That's why you never want to cap on your Death Strike. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. It builds your bone or your blood shield. Like, so if you take a big hit, you just reduce the damage you take. If you're staying at full health, see, I don't know. He doesn't track it? Like, he didn't say, hey, I tracked my blood shield. Here's the weak aura. No. That's a huge part. Certain fights where I'm fighting a boss, I have full blood shield. Especially on a boss, because you can keep your blood shield up pretty good on a boss, and then I'll get hit by a certain mechanic, like in Floodgate, that second boss, Swamp Face. If I don't have any blood shield up, it almost kills me, that mechanic. But if I have max blood shield, he'll just kill my blood shield, and I'll have a little bit of health to it. So you know what I mean? Like, seeing your blood shield is the key. That's the key. Weak aura, blood shield tracker. And then you should always try to be max stacks. Don't listen to 5 stacks. I hear like Quasi, he's like, oh, you always want to have minimum 5 stacks. No, you want max stacks the whole freaking time. So, because with that in your mindset, when you're at 11, you're gonna be like, hey, I should make sure I get it to 12. That's the science. Because then when you're at 12, right? Who cares about getting the 5 from Dancing Rune Weapon? You want to make sure you're maxed so you can spend these back and get this thing off of cooldown again for your damage. As you can see, I do have a 3k main. I got them out. I have a hard time finding people that can do damage. With this guy, I don't even need heals, so I just need big damage. So if you guys ever want to play with me and do some big damage, I'm down to tank. I love tanking. I use my trinket and I get more haste. A haste fiend. Let's even check here. Haste potion. Food for my primary stat. Haste. Think first. I have 8k verse. 23k haste. So when I eat my food, see how much haste I get. Oh, that won't work at all either. Boom, pop my potion. Boom. 42% haste, and then I get a little bit more off a player. And then it just feels like butter. You're staying alive. You have no worry about your resources. Because you're getting the rune so fast that you have unlimited runic power. Right? The way he's playing is if you ask me, he's probably more skilled than me because he's playing and making it harder. That's harder. You're walking into a pack and you're probably attacking about less than half the speed that I attack. I attack and it's boom, 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 boom. He attacks and it's boom, boom, boom. Right? You need all that verse if you're that slow. If you're that slow, you're gonna need as much damage reduction as you can get. That's crazy. But another thing is being a top 1 blood DK, right? Or a tank actually has nothing to do with you. All these guys are good tanks. It's all the damage. You get the dungeon done because you had some of the best damage in the world, right? That's where like anyone can run through a pack and spam freaking Death Strike. Props to all the damage guys that are at the top. That's the secret sauce, right? I've been through dungeons where I'll never even die, and my teammates just are all trash. They won't interrupt. They can't do damage. You don't time the key because the lack of damage. So, tanking is just, which is cool. Blood decay is your own survival. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry about the rant. I had to show you what I thought and what I think is best is Sandland. I tried Deathbringer. It doesn't hold a candle to the. Even if this is weaker, this feels better. It feels better to play. This is how you want to play. And look, extra damage. Blood Shield's active, more damage. That's the secret sauce, guys. That when you're about to pop your Death and Decay, Dancing Rune Weapon, and you're at max runes, make sure you even throw a Death Strike in the mix as soon as your Blood Shield falls off, because you get that 25 increase physical damage. Come on, man, he's all about damage. You're in the top end. Switch to this build. Yoda, if you watch my video, switch to this build. Try it out. Stack the haste. You don't need that damage reduction, bro. Trust me. You got this. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Rock and roll. Peace out.